Welcome to our first webinar of 2021 in partnership with Precise Biometrics and RCO Security. You are the key for touchless building entry. My name is Alan Goode and I'm the CEO and Chief Analyst at Goode Intelligence, and I shall be your host for today's session. This session is being recorded and will be made available on demand shortly after the event. So no matter where you are in the world, you can listen in at any time, making this event especially convenient for our global audience. We start with a keynote presentation from Stefan Persson, the CEO of Precise Biometrics, followed by a presentation from Fredrik Sederhagen, CEO of RCO Security, a partner of Precise Biometrics. Stefan and Fredrik will then join me in a Q&A panel session exploring some of the dynamics of this topic. Some housekeeping points. We will answer your questions during the panel session after our keynote presentations. To ask a question, please use the Q&A facility that you can see at the bottom of your screen. We'll get through as many questions as we can, but we'll also make sure we can stay on schedule so that the event flows smoothly. We should follow up with any unanswered questions after the event individually if we can't get through to everyone. So without further ado, I would like to invite Stefan Persson to kick off with his presentation. Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you, Alan, and let's see if I can share my screen now here. So, can you see my presentation?
Not yet, Stefan.
Let's try again.
Yep.
Okay.
All good. Thanks.
So thanks again, Alan, for the introduction and a warm welcome to this webinar about you are the key for touchless building entry. I will, as Alan said, together with Fredrik Sederhagen, CEO for RCO, present our view about the actual situation in this area and how we see the future going forward. So for those who haven't met me before, my name is Stefan Persson and I'm the CEO for Precise Biometrics. Everything is about the real customer. This starts with the end user that needs an easy but safe life. Within Precise, we started the journey some years ago to move from a technology-driven company to a company focusing on the customer and the benefit for the customer when they use our technology. And last year, we were able to launch a new product, the unique product, the product that helps people to have an easier and safer life. So it's all about real customer needs, solving problem in today's digital life. So why make it complicated when you can make it simple? So I'll talk a little bit about yesterday's and today's system. The yesterday's system, we are coming from a situation where we have a reception, a very time-consuming handling and costly setup, limited access and a lot of manual works due to the complex infrastructure and no coordination interaction between sites and different applications. Problem to identify people and handle access rights in a smart way. So the pain points of traditional access control system is it's not secure enough for today's needs. Onboarding process is very slow and tedious. User entry and exit experience is not seamless. Unauthorized users can use different member tags, etc., to come into facility that should not have access to. And all this in combination means high cost, because you need to have a lot of staff to handle the access structure. So one day in your life, it's a lot of codes, a lot of passwords, a lot of cards, a lot of tags. It's impossible to remember, and it's easy to lose and tricky to replace if you lose anything. Today's application, everything from unlocking a phone to buy stuff, enter buildings, signing into different applications, transportation, training, login require a lot of different devices and codes. It's actually impossible to continue like this. There is a need for simplicity, but remaining or actually better security level. So today, digital identity is a lot about card. It's about gatekeeping and security, of course, but problem with the identifying and administration is costly and heavy. And if you lose the card, it takes a long time to replace it and get it back. So what about the future? The future is actually already here because you are your own key. With our system, you get the convenience and the security in parallel. It's always available for you because it's related to your own biometrics. It's owned by you and it's controlled by you. So you can decide when you want to use it and how you want to use it. And it's only available then for applications that you have approved. So how does this work then on a high level? The administrator is sending out a web link. Then you take a photo. The photo goes up in the cloud, in the unique cloud, and then it sends to the prem, to the site where you are going to have access. So 30 seconds after you have sent up your face, then you can get access to a specific area that you're allowed to. And it's the same easy way to actually remove the access if that is needed. So with this system, the unique system, you get an easy, fast, and very secure system. You can get control over the gatekeeping. The security level can be really high because there can be modality. So you can actually add a card or add a PIN code or add a fingerprint on top of the face to get different security level. It's really easy to identify people. The administration is very easy because everything is handled software, so it can be handled remotely also. And if you lose a key or lose something, you actually just can get the replaced in a very, very easy way. Then into something else, it's about the ecosystem. Yesterday and still, we're coming from a very closed system, a proprietary system, with long lead times, limited number of new features, and very costly to maintain. A lot of the system is actually on the premises with a complex service system and infrastructure. So it's not easy to update, it's not easy to use, and it's absolutely not easy to add new features. That is the past. So how does it look in the future then? In the future, we are going towards an open source operating system, a system that actually helps us with speed. It can be cloud-based, and we can build an ecosystem where different companies can add features, actually like the mobile phone industry, where we're coming from a situation with Ericsson and Motorola and Nokia were building their own system. But nowadays, we have Android and we have Apple app stores, and they have opened up for a lot of different type of features, etc. And that means the community can start to build a lot of interesting features for the end consumer and the customers. So we see that this will happen also in this industry, and the journey there have just started. With this ecosystem then, for instance, this is one example. With our open APIs, you can add a lot of different features. In this case here, we have a lady, she's entering a door. She has gotten access via the unique system. And then the gate, the glass door here, she just have a sign that says welcome to the office. And we have not been involved in actually developing this. We're just providing the APIs to make it possible. This is just one example. So with this ecosystem, you can actually build a lot of interesting features and technology that the end users can use. Then into the market. The market for us is divided into 6 different segments. It's apartments block, commercial buildings, constructions, gyms, industrials, publics. And we have seen that during this first year now, when we started to roll out the product, we have been able to address especially the commercial buildings and the industrials. Today we have more than 50 installations. Most of them are in Sweden. And we have more than 1,000 users using the system every day. This is just the start. As we have presented earlier, the addressable markets just in Sweden for this type of technology is actually more than 1 billion SEK. So we have a very interesting journey in front of us together with our partners like RCO. Another important part when it comes to the go-to-market is the four main areas in how we're going to sell the product. One very important part is the AMS integrators, integration like with RCO, because here we get the platform to address a huge market. So it's important to get access to the existing customer base, build new feature together with them to increase the customer values. And integration will continue with the major player in each region and each country. Another important area is the deep collaboration with installation firms to secure a fast and simplicity in installation. With this, we will broaden up the base of customers and the possibility to scales. We also have direct sales. Direct sales and affiliated program helps us to get a real understanding about the customer needs and to support the customer needs in the best way. We need to close the gap between R&D and customer, and that is key for our success. So everything from new features to support function need to be in a way that we, Precise Biometrics, understand that. And then last part is related to also to scalability in new technology, and that we can handle with partnership, with the collaboration to open up for the ecosystem in a lot of different ways. So the benefits here of Unique is that you get a very stable, easy onboarding system. You get higher security if needed, when needed. You get a better improved customer experience. And by that, you get a reduced of the cost because you have an ease of use for the administrator, and this will be an end-to-end software solution. And with the openness here and opportunity for other players to add features and that technology, we have now started to build the ecosystem in this interesting area. By that, I hand over to you, Alan, again. So thanks a lot for listening in, and talk to you soon again.
Thank you, Stefan. That was very informative, and I think it touches on a lot of the trends that we're seeing in the industry at the moment. COVID has obviously accelerated a lot of these trends, especially around the kind of the touchless kind of interfaces that we're demanding now. So thank you very much. And just to remind everyone, anyone have any questions, please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen, and then we can answer those questions in the Q&A session which follows Fredrik's presentation. So over to you, Fredrik, please, from CEO of RCO. I'd like to invite him to add his comments on this subject. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. I will start by sharing my screen here. So let's see, can you follow my presentation here? Great. So hi everyone, my name is Fredrik Sidhagen, and I am the CEO of RCO Security. And for those of you who don't follow RCO, I will just give you a brief background on what kind of company we are and what we do, basically. And I started in this company roughly 5 years ago, and we very proudly spoke about keyless entry, electronic keyless entry. And that kind of immediately made me ask, so when do we start speaking about tagless entry, and well, here we are today, and I think that subject has been on top of mind for quite some time, but it's really now that we're starting to see proper solutions for it. So in essence, what we do is basically we create smart, secure solutions in order to create a safe and convenient environment for our end users and customers. And that means we develop and manufacture, sell access control and security systems. Very briefly. We've been in the market since 1976, so we have quite a huge legacy in access control, and I think I actually represent when Stefan talked about the history and basically the proprietary systems. And RCO is we come from that area, and we are in a transition actually towards openness, which I think is going to be demanded from us in order to cope with the changing customer demands. Basically, our markets are in the Nordics. We operate in Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and Finland, and we operate 3 brands: RCO, Dinbox, and Easy Access. We have our head office in Stockholm, and we are on a growth path in terms of geographical presence. So we launched Norway in 2014. Finland in 2017, and we recently acquired 2 companies in Dinbox and Easy Access. We are owned by Novak, which is part of the Axel Johnson Group in Sweden. So 3 things that I think makes us fairly unique in the Nordic market is that we have a fully integrated portfolio, which we control from end to end under the RCO brand. We basically we develop, we produce, and we sell these systems on a Nordic level. So we have a long history of creating sort of high quality products in access control and in intrusion alarm. And not so long ago, we created a fully integrated intrusion alarm towards our access control system, which makes us fairly unique. So a broad portfolio of products that we gear then towards different customer segments. So here we have quite a broad experience from many different segments. And we operate and offer solutions to basically all segments within the B2B market, but also in terms of residential apartment buildings. And the recent acquisition of Easy Access also adds consumer into our segments. So we offer solutions for all these segments, and we have a long history of working towards these type of customers, which also gives us quite a lot of insight in the customer needs and expectations for the future. Last but not least, we want to be part of this future ecosystem that's being developed around access control, and we are very curious as a company. I don't think anyone has the answer of how this ecosystem will sort of develop in exactly what direction and how it will look. But I think here you need to be very open-minded, and you need to dare to try things and try new partnerships. And large part of our strategy is that we want to innovate together with partners, because we realize, of course, that we can't make everything ourselves. We can't work and operate like access controls company has done in the past. So we need to align with partners to actually create a good customer experience and user experience. So Precise is of course a good example of this, and we have many other partnerships where we actually create a lot of customer benefits that are not developed in-house, but together in a broader ecosystem we can create a very nice customer experience. And of course, I think the big question is this guy history, the traditional tag? And I would say, well, it's not. I don't think it has the future. I wouldn't bet on it if I would, guess what will be the main mean of identification in the future. But I think that the tag will definitely play its role for the coming years as well. But I think from the RCO perspective, we look at a broader portfolio of different techniques to actually identify yourself. And we also want to make sure that we are in the forefront in offering the most modern techniques, of which I think facial recognition and the partnership with Precise is a good example of. So I think we will dig deeper into this question here during next session. So that was just a brief background on RCO and basically where we come from. And with that, I leave over to you, Alan.
Thank you, Fredrik. Some great insight there. Thank you very much. Right, I'd like to invite Stefan back. I know he's there, but if he can unmute himself, then we can go into the Q&A session. We have got a couple of questions in already, so just a reminder to use the Q&A facility at the bottom of your screen for any questions. And there's one around from Gary Sidaway. Hi, Gary. Hope you're well. On use, there's two questions actually, and I think one's related to kind of privacy, data protection, around the use of the images and security of that. So perhaps it's a case of how do you protect them, and also what should, if anyone's deploying this technology, what should they be thinking about from a privacy data protection point of view, specifically GDPR?
Yeah, so when it comes to GDPR, it's a very important part of our total system and offering, because the GDPR is actually helping users and protect the user's identity and rights in a very, very important way. And we know about that from the beginning when we started to develop this technology. And we have now made sure that we follow all rules and regulations in the right way. What is very important when it comes to GDPR is that each user need to freely accept and that we are using their faces. Of course, there are situations like a nuclear plant, etc. There is no opportunity to freely decide if they can be used or not. But in the normal uses, when you access for offices, etc., there always need to be an alternative, like a QR code or something else, if the users don't want to use this. Then, of course, we follow all the rules and regulations in terms of how you install the system, how you mount the cameras, etc., which type of application you are using. And so each case need to be carefully looked into. And then we are actually supporting our customer to do the installations in the right way. So.
Okay. Anything to add, Fredrik?
No, I can just add from our perspective. I mean, we never store in the access control systems. We never store names, and we wouldn't store pictures either. We're only interested in the code and in order to prepare an access. So,
okay. And a follow-on question from Gary is asking about, and this is quite relevant, and we've been noticing this is about wearing masks and COVID with facial recognition. And I've seen quite a bit of stuff from NIST in the US has been publishing his test results surrounding the accuracy rates around about facial recognition, and the US Department of Homeland Security has been doing a lot of live testing of biometric algorithms, facial recognition algorithms against people wearing masks and its efficiency. So is that a problem for you if someone rocks up to one of your buildings and they have a mask on? Is it going to be a problem for the facial recognition system, the identification system to recognize people? What challenges does it have?
Yeah, so that is of course not a black and white question. So it's depending on how you wear the mask, and I mean if you wear sunglasses, then it starts to get really problem. But we have a release that works with masks. So, but we have it in development phase because we're not satisfied with it yet. It will be released during this year, and the internal test shows that it's actually really accurate. Then of course it's depending how you wear the mask and how much part of the face you cover with the mask. But I always get this question about if I shave, if I have glasses one day and not glasses another day, and that's not a problem. That we can handle actually. And if you change the haircut and all that, that's not a problem. And we can actually handle mask also. We have not yet released it because one very important thing for Precise is the quality. And actually, Fredrik and myself discussed that in the past. When you have an open system and you let other companies add their features and their product into the system, we need to make sure we have the right quality of the total system before we release anything. So that is one thing we are securing now when it comes to mask, that the quality is good enough. Okay.
And another question related to COVID is on temperature monitoring. So, and we've seen it, you know, as an analyst firm covering this market, we've seen platforms starting to support things like temperature monitoring. So you can identify someone and then you can see if they've got a raised temperature, you know, whether they should be allowed into a gym, for instance, etc. So is that something that you see as an interesting application in these times?
I can start to answer and then maybe you, Fredrik, can add into that. But
sure.
We absolutely see that as an interesting feature. Then the question is how accurate is the technology. We will not develop it ourselves, but we have open APIs. So if there are anyone who want to add this into the total system where you actually do the matching, if you get okay with the matching and then you want to add the temperature scanning, of course it's possible to do that. But we will not do that ourselves. That will be via partners in that case.
Yeah, I'm Fredrik here. I fully agree. We cannot deliver that functionality today. And just like Stefan said, something that we need to add on, but it's fully possible with an integration. So,
yeah, and I think that's important with a platform, with an open platform, is that you have that flexibility to add on applications that are, you know, and to customize that a particular deployment. Yeah.
And one thing there, Alan, is that in the past with the proprietary system, it had been very, very tricky to add any new features. But what we are doing right now here, RCO together with Precise, is that we open up for that we very fast and speedy can add new technology and new features into the system. So that's the ambition with this new type of way of working with the cloud integrations and all that, instead of having just on-prem.
Okay. Another question from the audience, from Magnus Persson, asking about unique platforms. So we're talking about access control here, but are there other plans? Is there support for other applications, for instance, payments?
Yeah, so actually we started with payments. We started with payments here a little bit more than 2 years ago, and we had a lot of discussions with banks and financial institutes how to utilize our product unique in their environment also. Then I have a background in the mobile phone industry. It goes very fast and speedy. You have a 6 month of rhythm, but the bank have a tendency to have a little bit longer lead time, a little bit longer time to decide the changes and all that. And then on top of that, COVID came here, and all the bank and the financial institute actually said that they stopped all new development and they actually had focus on something else. It was actually by coincidence that our CTO said that I think that this solution that we have developed for applications for PCs and a mobile phone, which we have up and running today also, actually can work for access. So we started here 2 years ago with some trials in this area, and we realized it was really, really good. And then we said that let's focus on this one. So the traditional AMS system and all that platform that in some cases are slow. They're not as slow as the banks. They are actually much, much faster. And you can see that here from RCO and Fredrik today, that something is happening in that industry. So that journey we are really into now and focusing. But yes, we have a product. It's possible to use it on PC, laptop. It's possible to use it on mobile phones. It's just that we have now, during the last year, really focusing on the access area.
Yeah, and it seems a sensible approach to do, I think, and very much so. Right, we've touched upon and you've mentioned about the open platform in your presentation, Stefan. And I've touched on it in this Q&A session. We've got a question here on how will the new openness change the access industry? And I think we're looking short term and long term. So Stefan first, please.
Yeah, so I think it will be a disruptive industry. There will be, of course, a small player that will try to get into this, and they will be very fast out with new features. Then, of course, we need to have respect with when it comes to the legacy part. It's a huge legacy installed out there with their extremely high security levels and all that. So it will go hand in hand. I think it will come. It will not be possible to stop. It will be open, but it will be open in a controlled way. That's how we see it. Actually, I think Fredrik is he has been a little bit longer into this industry, so maybe he can comment it also.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it has become a bit of a buzzword in access control, actually, when you talk about open systems. And I mean, you have to modify that a little bit, because I mean, we're not gonna open up the doors for all types of hardware and integrate with everyone everywhere, because we also have a responsibility around the quality. We need to make sure that the end-to-end quality in our whole chain of security holds, which means that we will only work with certified partners. But the big change for us is that before it was all sort of homemade, it was all invented here. And I think in the future we will work much more with partners. And I mean, given the right quality and the right level of security, we will be open. So that will be the main difference. But I mean, we're a security company. We're going to put quality and security first, and we will demand that we will have high demands on our partners.
Thank you. Right, another question from our audience, and thanks for that, and please keep them coming. From Magnus again. Do you see any future to add extra functionality also in the biometric recognition for other cases, such as some kind of gesture? For example, to gain access, the face will only be the key, but face plus gesture can, for example, activate an intruder alarm or something like that. So this is an interesting, again, I think it's an additional application to the basic access control.
Yeah, so we are working with multi-modality. So today we have a fingerprint, we have a palm, we have face, and behavior is another area that we will not develop ourselves, but we have a cooperation with other partners. And there will be a mixture of this, and everything will be depending on the application and the level of security that is needed. So that is the beauty with this industry. I mean, you have always your body with you. The problem have been in the past because there was not technology, there was not hardware to be able to get out the biometrics and the data. But now it's possible, and it goes faster and faster. So the answer is yes. There will be a lot of different combinations and a lot of different applications that can be you use this. But today we don't know everything about this. That's the beauty also. There will be much more ideas and all that in this field when we open up for other partners to work with it.
Yep, very good point. And this is why I love working in this industry, because I think we're only scratching the surface of the capabilities of you start with identity, and then you can build on top many different kind of quality applications. Excellent. Right, okay, another question here. How can you convince the traditional access industry to accept the values of the new solution? So perhaps Fredrik, start off with, obviously you've been working in the industry for quite some time. So.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I don't need to be convinced. I think convince the end customers, the users of the systems, that this will actually sort of enhance or simplify their day-to-day life, and we will meet up those customer demands, and that's why, I mean, from our perspective, we will still work with tags for probably quite some years ahead. We will work with mobile phones, smartphones as an identifier, as well as face recognition. So we will always try to meet up where the end user and the consumer, what they want to use and what enhances their experience.
Yeah. Stefan?
So,
no, I just agree with Fredrik. So in the end, ease of use always win. We have seen that so many times in the past. Simplify your daily life. As I showed in the presentation, there are so many codes and so many different things you need to remember right now. But also, as Fredrik said, it's not that we're saying that you should remove all the cards and PIN codes and all that, because it can work in synergy with the multimodality and two steps factors or three steps factor, etc. And then, of course, what we know is that this is from a cost point of view a very, very good solution also, because you can handle it, you can do the administration in a totally different way. So it's both from the end user's point of view because of ease of use, but also from the companies from a cost point of view. And therefore, there will be an interesting journey in front of us in this area.
And you've had a great deal of success in a short period of time and in very difficult business circumstances with what we've seen with the pandemic. So, but based on your experience so far, what markets are, because obviously with access control there's a as with many vertical industries, there is a lot of different kind of adoption rates from different users. So where are you seeing the initial kind of investment in this new technology? Is it hospitality? Is it gyms? Is it enterprise for offices?
Yeah, what we have seen so far is a gym. They are very interesting into this area, of course, because then they can open up 24/7, more or less,
Okay.
without any staff working there. They can have control of how many people are into the gym, and by that, actually, if there are rules and regulations, how many can enter a specific area, they can actually handle that with this technology also. So that's very interesting. Then another thing, as you mentioned also earlier, Alan, is due to the COVID, is the no touch. What we see, I mean, we worked heavily with fingerprint also, and when we are one of the leader in the fingerprint area for mobile phones, and we strongly believe that fingerprint will continue to be a very, very interesting and strong technology for your own device, like computers and PCs. But when it comes to the public environment, we see a tendency that people don't want to touch things, and then suddenly it will be more like behavior or like face that will be stronger in public area. So it will be a combination here. What we also see now is of course in industry, in production industry, where they really want to avoid COVID or that COVID into the production line, and avoid PIN codes and tags and all that is circling between the employees, etc. So that have been one of our two focus area, the first actually 1 year here that we have been working with this system.
Okay. So will face recognition, will it eventually replace traditional tags and smartphones?
I think that we will live with a smartphone for a long time. It will not replace the smartphone, because the smartphone is much more than access. It's more or less your whole life.
But for access control. Yeah.
But for access control, I strongly believe that tags and all that will gradually be removed. Yes, I strongly believe that. Then it will not happen this year. It will take many years before we have removed all of those. But over time, there will not be any tags and cards left, but it will take time.
Okay. Fredrik, is that something you concur with?
Yeah, it will definitely take time. I mean, you have to keep in mind that, an investment in an access control system is an investment for 10, 20 years. And of course, you don't just swap that because of new technology. And that's one of our challenges, is actually to create, new technology that's backwards compatible, of course, with system already deployed. So that's something that we're focusing quite a lot on. But if I would bet on 20 years in the future, or maybe 15, I would say the virtual tags in smartphones and facial recognition would probably be the two main use cases. But up until then, I think the tag will tag along for a few more years, definitely. And I think it's important to look at, and it's good that we can use multiple different identification techniques. I think it boils down to different doors. You can't just divide the different segments or customer segments that you put the industry and the offices in different compartments, but you really need to go down to the individual doors and say, what kind of use case, what kind of experience do I want to create around this, for example, conference room, or high secure area in the office. I mean, there's very different security requirements and experiences that needs to be taken care of. So
yeah, very much so. And it's very similar to logical access control. You need that fine level of granularity in access control, in accessing confidential or kind of unclassified data. So it's very similar. And it takes me back to when I was working in the industry. So when I was working for Schlumberger Cards, I was working on a lot of projects which this kind of attempted to do a card-based system using PKI to try and attempt to do physical and logical control with the one card. And it was difficult from a deployment perspective, but easy from a technology point of view. So do you feel that we can have a platform where it gets us into the building, and then from an enterprise, from an office point of view, and allows us to then access our workstations, or is this that? Are we looking at a platform with that kind of vision, Stefan?
Really tricky to answer that question, Alan. To be honest, I mean, the technology is generic in terms of where you want to use it. Of course, it's different issues to integrate it with different platforms, but over time you can use it for a lot of different type of applications. So today I can't answer that. But we don't see that this is just for a specific application. It can be used in so many different ways.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. So do we just a quick question to the audience? Please keep the questions coming in. We've had a good dialogue so far. So if you do have any further questions, then please use the Q&A session. So if we're just checking whether we have. So if we just to kind of wrap up this session, is there any kind of final remarks that you would like to make, Stefan, in terms of the in the context of what we've said so far?
No, as I said, we have just started this, and of course we are humble, and but still we can see the huge potential in this field, and when we started here during last year, we said let's focus on the Sweden market only, and Sweden market only is huge for us. So going down the road, we need to find way to go outside Sweden and Nordic, and how to handle that. But right now, the focus is Nordic, and I'm super happy about the cooperation with RCO and Fredrik and the team. One of the old system have opened up in a very positive and surprisingly good way. So actually rather speedy integration and up and running already, and we have installations ongoing together. So I'm looking forward for the next coming 12 to 24 months in this field.
Thank you, Stefan. Final comments, Frederick, to our audience?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's really exciting times, I would say, to be in access control, because there's so much happening. I mean, there are so much, I mean, there are new technology and new partners that we work with. I think it's important that we, team up. We also need to make sure that we can change the industry in terms of sort of influencing the regulatory organizations, because they are usually they're usually lagging a bit. So today, because of security reasons, you can't really turn off an intrusion alarm with your face. But with the proper security and encryption and cooperation between access control companies and companies like Precise, I mean, we will be able to achieve that and create even more sort of a better customer experience. So
excellent.
That's something we need to push.
Okay, very good point. Stefan, got one final question. Well, actually, they're coming in. Even though I said we're closing it, so we've had two further questions coming in. The first one is from David. He's asking whether you're going to have different types of pricing models, or is it just per user?
No, that we are flexible. Today we have per user per year, but we are flexible when it comes to that. The only thing we don't change is that we always signing a contract with the end user. That's very important because of GDPR and all that we discussed earlier, and the cloud system and all that. So that we will never change. But today we have a price structure which is per user and year actually. But we are flexible there. You need to be flexible in this industry.
Okay, thank you. And another question from Magnus. To you again, Stefan, do you have any plans for partnering with companies that can build pilot solutions and test cases for their existing customer security systems, for example, high-level installation companies, or is this mainly focusing on a partnership with access control producers within the industry at the moment?
No, we have already partnership with installation companies. So the answer there is yes, we are open for a lot of partnership. And as Fredrik said also earlier, that's the only way to be able to address the whole market here because you can't do everything internally. Absolutely. No. We are expert in biometrics. We have a good understanding about the system integration, and we should stay there, and then we'll find partners that are expert in their respective fields.
It sounds a very good plan. So another one. We cannot keep them down. It's saying thank you for Magnus anyway. Our pleasure. Right, thank you to Stefan and Fredrik for an insightful look at you are the key for touchless building entry. And a big thank you to our audience for your time and your questions. I hope you all have taken away something of value from today's virtual event. If we didn't manage to get around to answering any of your questions, we should be following up with them to ensure you get an answer. The recording from today's event will be available shortly, and we'll be in touch with the details in how to access this recording. So look out for future events from Goode Intelligence into 2021. We'll be holding our annual biometric summit in April virtually. So that's going to be a big discussion on some of the biggest topics in this area at the moment. On that note, I would like to thank you for all attending. Stay safe and well. Thank you.